Welcome to the second Global Impact Virtual Conference hosted by ISTI and ASCD community leaders. I'm Rawan Al-Adawi, one of the community leaders and a member of the Global Impact team. We have an incredible lineup of speakers today, and this session's presenter is one of them. This session is a mix of English and Arabic. If you need to turn on the captions, please do so by following the directions using the link in the chat. It is my pleasure to introduce Hala Sleiman. She is a former colleague, very dear to my heart, an educator and curriculum coordinator based in Lebanon. As an educational leader and curriculum designer, she works closely with teachers to foster meaningful learning environments. One of the proudest moments was leading the successful IB-PYP evaluation process at MEF International School in Istanbul, which resulted in outstanding outcomes. So she is passionate about creating and aligning curricula that empower both educators and students to engage in global learning and positive change in the community. Hala Sleiman, welcome. Marhaba, ahla wa sahla. The floor is yours.
Hi, Rawan. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you, first of all, على الانترودكشن الحلوة. أول شيء اعذروني رح أجرب قد ما بقدر أحكي بالعربي وبالإنجليش. Given that we teach the program in English وصار لي 9 years بالفيلد, sometimes the terms are easier to be said in English, بس رح أعمل جهد إن أحكيهم بالعربي. Alright, so اليوم بالسيشن رح نحكي عن global citizenship through inquiry. رح نجرب to focus on هو inspiring action in the PYP classrooms. So رح نحكي شوي عن what is global citizenship and how can we implement it in our PYP classrooms. حابة بلش بهيدي الصورة. أنا كبرت بلبنان وللواحد يكبر بلبنان بيقدر يشوف شغلتين الوحدة وشوية انقسام كمان. فوقتها كبرت بلبنان ما كنت بعرف شو يعني global citizenship، ووقتها فتت على field education وبلشت أتعلم بالصفوف صار عندي فكرة أوسع وأزبط لشو يعني global citizenship أو اللي بنسميها المواطنة العالمية. وبعدين وقت فتت بفيلد الاديوكيشن حسيت انه نحن فينا نعلم الاولاد مش بس انه يفهموا عن العالم، لا والاهم انه يهتموا للعالم وانه يكون عندهم المسؤوليه تجاه عالمهم ويعملوا تغيير وتتيك اكشن. بالسيشن اليوم رح نحكي عن how inquiry in the PYP classroom can lead to authentic global citizenship. مش بس كtheory بس كمان in everyday classroom practices. So مع بعض we're going to look at what global citizenship means in the context أو بسياق ال PYP, how to plan and teach with a global lens, وكيف فينا to inspire students ونشجعهم إنه ياخدوا meaningful action. ورح شارككم كمان concrete examples ل success stories أنا شفتهم خلال شغلي مع ال international schools across the years. أولاً بدي بالchat box تاخدوا دقيقة أو دقيقتين وتفكروا about the word global citizenship. What comes to your mind when you hear global citizenship in PYP? So شو الأفكار اللي بتخطر على راسكم وقت تفكروا بglobal citizenship بالPYP؟ وروان رح تساعدنا نقدر إذا قدرنا نطلع answers بالchat to share them briefly. رح نشوف مع بعض بالسيشن إنه global citizenship term كبير وبحسسنا بمسؤولية كبيرة، ولكن لما منجزئه منفكر ب simple definition of it منلاقي إنه تطبيقه وإنه to achieve it بقلب الصفوف منه صعب أبداً. روان أنت معي؟ Okay. I'm just gonna share one answer. هلا أنا شفته. When I hear this, I believe students are learning about the world through themes such as conflict or sharing the planet. Lovely, exactly. Okay, so as we go through the session, خلينا نفكر بهذا السؤال كل الوقت. Whenever you have an answer, you can put it on the chat box. So, what is global citizenship in the PYP? Global citizenship in general هو إنه نفهم العالم اللي نحن عايشين فيه وناخد قرار to care, to reflect and to act to make it better. So هو مش بس مهم إنه نحن نعرف شو عم بيصير بالعالم بل to act on it as well. طيب السؤال هو كيف فينا نحن نخلي هيدا الشيء يتحقق بقلب الصفوف تبعنا؟ How can we make this happen? أولاً بدنا نحكي وقت نحكي عن global citizenship بقلب صفوفنا بدنا نحكي عن 3 أشياء. أول شغلة هي learner agency. نحن as educators we need يعني عنا responsibility والمسؤولية إنه نتقبل إنه تلاميذنا هن capable learners وهن by nature they are inquirers. وهلا nowadays بسمع كتير لما بنحكي عن student agency و learners agency دايما بنحكي عن voice with choice. بس أنا I want to challenge this even more وبتمنى إنه نتعمق شوي بتفاصيل ال voice and choice. What does this look like? What does that mean? So وقتا بدنا نقرر to lead the class with our students لازم نفكر بأمور تتعلق بالوقت بالmaterials بالspaces بالrelationships وبالinteractions. مثلا الماتيريالز اللي عنا يوم بالصف هل هن متاحين لكل الأولاد؟ Do all learners know how to use these materials? الوقت هل عنا نحن وقت كافي to revisit the ideas that the students came up with ونعطيهم مجال to pause and reflect and maybe give them the chance to act on things. Relationships. How do our learners support each others? كل هول we have to nurture them in our classroom حتى نوصل لنحقق الجلوبال citizenship بقلب our classrooms. الشغلة الثانية اللي بتلحق learner agency هن learner profile attributes. learner profile attributes بيقولوا هن الكور للIB ودايما نحن منجرب to have them everywhere on the walls in our hallways in the classrooms. I also want to challenge this a little bit and ask you to think about the following. To what extent do we teach these learner profile attributes in our classes? To what extent are kids aware of these attributes and when they are exhibiting them? To what extent are we including them in our lessons? To what extent are our students reflecting on these attributes? So نحن لأي مدى عن جد عم نعلمهم explicitly لهول الاتريبيوتس لأنه كل action بيتاخد عنا بالكلاسروم هو connected للlearner attributes ورح نشوف مع بعض كيف. مثل ما البعض بيعرف إنه نحن to take action we have different kinds and ways of doing that. So الaction منه دايما student initiated, منه دايما teacher initiated. There are different parts and ways of doing that. Sometimes it's guided by the teacher, sometimes it's purely student initiated. But whatever the students are doing, it is connected to the learner profile attributes. And it's very important for the teachers to be aware of that وكمان للتلميذ يكونوا aware إنه أنا اليوم I communicated effectively واحترمت غير perspectives وأديت وطلعت بأفكار جديدة ف I am also exhibiting a certain learner profile. هلا رح نعمل pause we're gonna reflect a little bit. بدي منكم تفكروا شوي. Think of a recent unit and ask yourself, did it spark action? Why or why not? خدوا شوية وقت دقيقة أو دقيقتين وفكروا باليونت latest unit اللي أنتوا عم تشتغلوا فيه. Did it really spark action? And if it did, amazing. And if it didn't, try to ask yourself why and share it with us on the chat box.
Hala, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna read for you from the chat some of the exciting stuff. Okay,
Yes,
we
please.
have, as I was telling you before, you have people joining from Argentina, Iraq, Texas, so many countries, and we have like Cami, for example, mentioned global citizenship, actively sharing the world with our students. This is one of the answers. Alan says, when I hear this, I believe students are learning about the world through themes such as conflict or sharing the planet. And Rana Sleiman says, I think of cultural awareness and respect. And Alan says again, reflection is so key to everything we do. We reflect so we can act to improve outcomes, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us.
Amazing. Thank you, Rawan, for sharing.
Welcome.
رح نعطي شوية وقت. While I'm talking, I think more people will try to reflect على اليونت اللي كان عندهم إياه وإذا قدروا إذا هاليونت قدر to spark action ونحكي عن الموضوع أكتر.
Okay.
So I hope as I'm sharing, as I'm moving forward بالslides, رح يمكن بعض الeducators يلاحظوا إنه يمكن بدون ما نحن نعرف الأولاد عن جد they took action. But maybe it wasn't very visible to us or to them, and that's totally fine. So we're gonna dissect this in the coming slides. So بدي ركز شوي على different types of actions. بسمع كتير من teachers وحتى أنا لما كنت an educator, at the end of the unit I used to be a little bit frustrated sometimes إنه الأولاد ما أخذوا action. الأولاد ما طلعوا ideas. It was more of me guiding them. They didn't create something. It's very important to highlight that taking action is not only about creating something. It could be, there are different types of actions. It could be from literally changing a very small behavior or changing a certain thing in your daily lifestyle. Oh, it could be all the way to creating something and innovating something new and finding a solution to a problem. So it could be, and that's the reason ليه أنا I'm sharing هيدول القصص لحتى نعرف إنه الأولاد يمكن يكونوا عم يعملوا وياخدوا action بطرق كتير صغيرة. ممكن تكون through presenting data، يمكن يعملوا فيديو صغير، يمكن يكتبوا an email، يمكن يكتبوا petition، يمكن يطلعوا ببلان build a model design something. منا هي دايما بتكون in the form of a presentation. having said that كمان اللي عم نجرب هلأ نعمله بصفوفنا إنه شوي شوي نبعد عن certain ways of doing things in our class and moving towards things that are more authentic, more student-led and more meaningful. And I would like to highlight a few things صراحة لأنه these are the things that sometimes they are vague and not very clear to everyone, including myself. And it took me a lot of years to realize, and I'm still learning, that, okay, we want to do backwards planning all the time. وبدنا نشوف, okay, what do we want our kids to achieve by the end of the unit? This is the question that we always ask ourselves. بس كمان لازم شوي نبلش نبعد عن اوكي انه نحن عنا action that will conclude the unit of inquiry. عنا action هو حاطينه نحن as an expectation ونكون أكتر moving towards إنه الأولاد يكونوا part من هذا البروسس وإنه يقدروا to reflect. لأنه any process نحن عم نعلم inquiry based learning. The process is very messy. الأولاد يمكن يطلعوا بideas جديدة، يمكن يروحوا different directions. هيدا ما بيعني إنه أنا إذا عاملة a teacher planned action in advance, that doesn't mean this has to stay. I can change it. I can be flexible with it. I can invite the students to be part of it. This is very important. كمان action that is visible and measurable مثل ما هلأ سبقت وحكيت إنه منه دايما visible. Sometimes يمكن الأكشن الأولاد بيعملوا بياخدوا موقف أو they design something أو they create something بعد 3 أشهر من ما يخلص اليونت أو بعد أول شهر من ما يخلص اليونت, and that's okay. These are the very authentic ways of taking action that you cannot sometimes measure them and they're not always visible, and that's totally okay. So that's why برجع بقول إنه لما نفكر هلا okay, did my unit spark action? يمكن it did, بس يمكن ما كان كتير concrete وما قدرنا نشوفه مزبوط. السكند فيز بدي أحكي فيها هي how to plan and teach with a global lens. أولاً رح شارككم شغلتين لازم نفكر فيهم وهن شوي in theory. so هن قصص لازم دايما نخليها ببالنا نحن وعم نجرب to create a lesson plan. ومن بعدها رح فرجيكم concrete examples of success stories صارت بالشغل ومع التلاميذ والأساتذة اللي كنت عم بشتغل معهم at my school. So one of the things we need to consider when we are planning unit هو أولاً compelling central ideas. Central ideas ضروري كتير يكونوا connected to our real world. يعني لازم يكونوا relevant للstudents, relevant لشو عم بيصير بالعالم. الأولاد بيسمعوا فيها وعم it's something that's happening worldwide مش something that's happening in one country. شغلة تانية, embedding global context into our inquiries is very, very important. يعني trying to see مثلا let's say نحن we're exploring or inquiring into global issues. It's also very important to look at local issues as well in order to find ways to solve this. And we will look at concrete examples in a bit. كمان of course reflection and action through authentic issues that are very relevant to the students. يعني بدل sometimes ما نبلش very global community يمكن فينا نبلش بالlocal community. شو فينا نغير ببيتنا بالمدرسة بالcommunity اللي حوالينا. رح أعطي example عن one of the units كان how we organize ourselves. The central idea كانت organizations can help people solve their problems and support their needs. This is for a grade, this was done in a grade 4. This was their central idea. The central idea, as you can see, it's broad and it does relate and it does target global issues. بهيدي اليونت الأولاد they explored what organizations are. They explored local and global issues. يعني global issues عم تصير بالعالم من أبسط القصص ليمكن pollution, ل waste of resources, ل wars, ولا قصص عم بتصير locally ببيتهم بالمدرسة بشغل أهلهم. And what's more important, being responsible as an active citizen as well. What is our responsibility towards our community? نحن حتى لو نحن we're in grade 1 and grade 2, how can I help my community? This is the question that we focus on. So بهيدا اليونت قبل ما نوصل لهون بهيدا اليونت الأولاد شافوا organizations, تعلموا عن ال NGOs وشافوا global و they explored and inquired into global و local issues. ومن بعدها the big question was, okay, now that we're looking at local issues, what are some local issues you are witnessing? And one of the kids' answer was focusing on local issues عم بيصيروا بالمدرسة. مثلا waste of water أو lack of green spaces بالplayground. ومن هون بلشت student initiated inquiry وبلشوا يخلقوا يطلعوا شو في local issues نحن عناهم بالمدرسة, شو في مشاكل عم نواجهها بالمدرسة. So من بعدها اضطروا الأولاد يروحوا يعملوا interviews, يعملوا surveys حتى يشوفوا شو ناقص المدرسة. اضطروا يعملوا interviews مع الأولاد ليشوفوا perspective الأولاد. Okay, نحن what are we facing in this school and how can we help improve the community. ومن هون خلقوا ال NGOs وصار في transdisciplinary learning لأنه they connected it to their literacy. They learned how to write emails and persuasive essay to persuade the school and convince them to make these changes. بس لأنه طلعت من الستودنتس, لأنه حسوا إنه they have a role in this, حسوا إنه هن عندهم مسؤولية تجاه مدرستهم, وحتى إذا غيروا بالمدرسة they will feel better لأنهم مهتمين ولأنهم حسوا بالمسؤولية. That's why this all came together and they presented their work in connection to the SDGs وحكيوا وخلقوا their NGOs. that was a long year unit. بعدهم لهلا عم يشتغلوا على الموضوع لأنه it takes months and months of work to create an NGO and create the simple details and make a change in your school community. So الأولاد حضروا their presentations, they connected everything with different subjects, or they raised awareness, they shared it with different grade levels. حتى مثلا one of the examples in arts for example كانوا عم يشتغلوا عن eco friendly playgrounds لأنه ال playgrounds اللي عنا بالمدرسة after they explored them and inquired into them they noticed that they're not very eco friendly so طلعوا بموديل to make it more eco friendly in connection to what they're learning in arts. So what I'm trying to say is that when we, going back to this slide, when we give them the space for inquiries, when we empower them to take action based on what they care about, we really don't need to do much. It will all be done through the kids. And this is a big example of global citizenship in your classrooms. Another example I would like to focus on and share with you. هيدا اليونت انعمل بجريد 5 كان عن المigration وكان under the theme where we are in place and time. الأولاد استكشفوا شو يعني migration. كان عندهم كتير أسئلة لأنه نحن we come from a very diverse community. We have so many nationalities بقلب المدرسة. والأولاد they relocated. Some of their parents were immigrants. So كتير تفاعلوا مع هذا اليونت. So they unpacked the reasons for migration. شو العلاقة أو شو rights of the immigrants. وتعلموا كتير مواضيع throughout the unit. Of course, they learned so many facts. They learned so many knowledge, and then they built their conceptual understanding. And then throughout the unit, the parents came in وصاروا عم بيشاركونا الاكسبيرينسز تبعهم. Along the way, I'm gonna show you some of the examples اللي الولاد عملوهم إنه كانوا كتير interested لأنه it resonated with them لأنه حسوا إنه this kid went through this experience. It's a bit similar to mine. وفاتوا أكتر بحياة الريفوجيز so قدروا يعملوا research عن الموضوع و what they did is إنه they created a migration story. They used realistic fiction writing to create and to narrate a story from the lens of immigrants. And this is and when we look at student initiated action and student led inquiries, it came from them picking the countries they want to focus on. It came from them trying to raise awareness. Some of the groups قرروا إنه يعملوا campaign وقرروا إنه to raise fundings و to support جمعيات معينة. Some of them كان بدهم بس to raise awareness about it. Some of them they struggled بس بعد شهرين 3 قدروا يفرجوا الاندرستاندينج تبعهم بطرق كتير بسيطة ومختلفة. And this is also an example of how things were transdisciplinary. حطيت كل شيء قلته بس بهذا الملخص تنشوف كيف بلشنا وكيف خلينا اليونت يكون أول شيء very relevant to the kids, related to a global issue عم نواجهها اليوم, very related to what they're living on daily basis. تحت دفشتهم و it inspired them إنه لا أنا I want to make a difference, I want to make a change, and I want the whole world to know about this. So Hala, we're going to pause and reflect for a few minutes. And I would like to invite you to take a moment and think about what is it that you are going to do next week to invite global thinking into your unit. Rawan, maybe if we have new comments, yeah, that would be great.
Okay, there's plenty actually. I don't know where to start, to be honest. هقرا لك some of them. By the way, I speak Arabic as well, guys. So we have one of the recent units we did, this is by Alan, involved AI and who owns the generated content. While action may not have taken place on that day, it at least began the conversation as small acts lead to larger change. This is by Alan. By Alfredo, in many school systems, teaching for mastery doesn't require action, which is not good. We need to redefine mastery and demonstration of it. And Cami also mentioned something about sparking action as more teachers turn to teachers pay teachers material. There seems to be less effort to take action.
Amazing.
Yes. Many people liked the definition and the experiences you mentioned. So Tawanda mentions one of the main thing is I try to do with my students real world issues. That global lens is so important.
Thank you for sharing, Roman. I also saw a comment now that many of our school are stuck in the 20th century mindset. Exactly. This is also very dangerous. It's بعتقد كتير مهم إنه اليوم يمكن أكتر شيء topic هلا عم نسمع فيه هو ال AI. ف وحتى قبل سنين كان في topics تاني يمكن، بس حتى لو ال AI هو اليوم التوبيك اللي عم نحكي فيه، yes ما نخاف منه. Let's dig deeper, let's get to know it more, and let's include our students بالplanning وبال thoughts تبعنا بال thinking process. Let them be part of it. So I would like to end this session and just with one last thought إن المواطنة العالمية أو ال global citizenship عن جد بتبلش بالصف through curiosity, compassion and courage. And just one thing to think about as you leave the session: what is one small step you will take after today? And one last thing, if you want to know more and if you want to grow and collaborate and connect, I've started recently بلشت my page on Instagram وسميتها فكر انكوري لأعمل مزيج بين العربي والإنجليش. وعلى هيدا الكوميونتي it's a safe space لكلنا نحكي بمواضيع شائعة وعم نسمع فيها اليوم، وchallenges و success stories all about inquiry and learning. So if you'd like to support, you can scan the code and follow me on my page as well. I really want to thank you all for showing up and for your amazing comments and participation. Thank you, Rawan.
Hala, wow, I'm amazed and thank you so much. What a powerful example of showing how agentic learning happens, how students can take action within their inquiry. And thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise. Okay. This year, we wanted to add practical ways for educators to implement in their classrooms. We asked people to record quick videos with tips for doing just that. Now, let's learn how to get started implementing global impact from Ella Ben-Ur to learn about Innovators Compass. I will share my screen right now with a video that she shared with us.
Educator at Olin College and coach for students of all ages, educators, and organizations. I've seen that no matter who's tackling those big challenges, they've got to manage tasks and time, lead, learn, communicate, collaborate, lots of different smaller connected challenges along the way. But luckily, I've also worked with lots of maps for those different big and small challenges and found that they're connected too. Just like maps of different places have the same compass in the corner. I went on a decade-long mission distilling this compass till we could unleash it for people to use and share in any challenge, experimenting from preschool peace tables to global conferences like this one about the disease HIV/AIDS. Okay, time to teach, unleash this compass, even for a minute, right now. So pick something that's on your mind today or you need to do, even planning dinner. Now, in your head, or you can jot this down, explore at least 2 different possibilities for people. Who's involved in this? Okay, now dive down to explore a couple of details or different sides of what's happening and why. If it's about someone else, maybe pop a question mark on it. With those observations to go on, zoom out to the big picture and explore what matters most, a couple of guiding stars or principles for whatever you do here. Now, look for the big picture of what ways are there to do those things that matter most. Different, even blue sky dreamy or still fuzzy ideas. And then come back down to details to explore what's a step to try, a specific experiment, asking a question or trying an idea in a small way that's okay if it doesn't work at first. When you do, you'll see what happens for everyone involved. Maybe something else matters or is a better idea to try. This is our Innovator's Compass, 5 powerful questions that move us forward in any challenge. It's a compass, not a map. People and processes use these questions fast or slow, following the numbers, or bouncing around, and so can you. Of course, all those big maps have lots more instructions, but essentially they say, ask these 5 powerful questions more, using the cues on the compass. And as we do, explore new possibilities, literally playing with more punctuation marks. Within 4, everyone involved, and more of our human tools. Now, I hope you're thinking, wait, my students have plenty of questions, observations, ideas, and experiments. They've got punctuation marks and all those human tools. So unleash students' compass on challenges right here, right now. Don't wait for a big project, just start. You can start using these in conversation, like we just did. Or make a compass. All of these are playground conflicts unstuck at different ages, in words or pictures, teacher-led or student-led, from upstate New York to Aurora, Colorado to Calgary, Canada. That's no surprise, right? Playgrounds might involve kids, but model plenty of world challenges. And teachers would love not to be involved. Here's a Boston classroom compassing their conflicts with a mix of their human tools. On stickies, they shared observations about what's happening on the playground. Upsides, talking, playing, tag, and downsides. People block the slide. They always play tag. Are they trying to exclude me? The teacher scribed for what matters most. Principles like having free choice to talk, play, have fun, run, and competing ones. Everyone feels safe, included, and listen. Then they drew out ways to do those things. Ideas like new games, rules, roles, props, and signs. Then they tried some experiments, like this no blocking the slide sign. Learned from what happened and made adjustments. Adding a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Of course, we hope kids will care about challenges beyond the human world. Here's a California classroom saving caterpillars getting crushed on the street in front of their school. They didn't bother to write down their experiments. They just started trying. Now, unfortunately, sometimes global problems come to you. After the Miami teacher's school was hit by Hurricane Irma, she let kids compass individually and together to explore their experiences of what happened and what mattered most to them about it, and ways to help their families and community move forward. But they also went global with Innovator's Compass since, yes, it's also a powerful scaffold for bigger projects at any level, right from the start, picking topics.
In our project with the global goals, we all shared our observations, the things that mattered to us, the ideas and the experiments we were willing to try, and derived a class project with the resources available to us.
And then to scaffold project work. Break Free Education brings global impact projects to the restricted environments of juvenile justice facilities and makes their incredible 5-session standards-aligned lesson plans and slides available online to all. Break Free Education uses Innovator's Compass, in their words, to help students understand the design thinking process, but in an easy-to-use way that keeps people at the center. This year's theme was Reviving Ocean Life. In their slides, Break Free provides rich material for students to collect observations of the effects of climate change on the ocean and principles for having impact, from photos to quantitative data to videos of scientific explanations and first-hand accounts. They also teach a range of design thinking methods that get students using those 10+ human tools like empathy maps and drawing crazy eights as they explore the observations, design principles, ideas, and experiments that they express in a compass to visually bring their understanding and thinking together. For their chosen experiment, teams built cardboard prototypes with their limited materials and unlimited creativity. Oceanographer Diane Molly offered her observations and evaluation of their experiments based on the team's stated principles and their understanding of the environmental impact principles in the slides. This winning student team built a boat that collects ocean trash as it moves. Now, for a full semester design curriculum around Innovators Compass, there's my own course, Engineering for Humanity, that I co-teach with anthropologist Katrin Lynch. Despite its name, our first-year and up college students work one-to-one with older adults in their own community. But they collaborated remotely with their partners during COVID, so you could have partners anywhere in the world. It's also been adapted by middle and high schools. There are videos, slides, and write-ups of all the design methods and activities, which include 5 rounds of compassing their project with their partner, 1 to identify a meaningful, feasible topic, and then 4 that we call play, prototype, pilot, and produce to create something impactful in their partners' lives. They also compass their individual, team, and class experiences at the start and when problems pop up, which of course impact their projects. Finally, they draw more societal level observations and try and experiment to have impact on aging in the community around them. For inspiration, you can show students this compass in action for global impact, well, all over the world.
I've used it in training volunteers with Core Africa.
To learn and know much better about how people think, the problems they're facing, and how we can, together with the community, devise and get the solutions.
I used the Innovators Compass for my development project, which is youth engagement in the community. I wanted the development work to be done by the youth itself in order to increase their community power.
We have distributed internet packets and phones to more than 200 students in Indonesia. I use this compass to remind me of who's at stake and how to find solutions that can work for everyone, and that the solution can actually exist within the community itself.
You have all the building blocks for better ways forward in the world around us. Just start. All free resources and videos are available at innovatorscompass.org. Please use and share them. Just credit innovatorscompass.org and share back your stories, and reach out anytime to me at ella@innovatorscompass.org.
Wow. Thank you, Ella Ben-Or, for the amazing strategies and resources that you shared with us. A great way to implement global impact in the classroom. Thanks again for joining this live session as part of the Global Impact Virtual Conference. From our whole ISTE plus ASCD community leader global team, we are so grateful for your participation today. Please continue participating in the Global Impact Virtual Conference by joining our Educators Lounge or by joining the next live session. You can find the information at our website, bit.ly/2025 Global Impact, including content from our Global Impact Conference last year. Our next presenter is Natalia Pinelli Gomez and begins at the top of the hour. Thanks again for joining. See you next time.